Thank you for joining us once again. I trust that you're having a great day. My name is Arit Efan. It's time for the news update at Dusk on African Free Press Television. 16 people have died and over 170 are in critical condition as a result of cholera outbreak that has ravaged 3 internally displaced persons camps within Maiduguri, Borno State. Officials from WHO and UNICEF are battling the epidemic, although the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has denied that the epidemic is cholera, attributing the death to diarrhea. The affected camps are those housing IDPs from Mafa along Dikwa and Gala Road. Health officials at the camp say the situation could get worse. Affected IDPs have been prevented from leaving the camps by security agents in a move to prevent spread of the disease into the metropolis until the situation is brought under control. Also, those affected have been separated from those unaffected, and all the IDPs have been treated with preventive medicine. 9 operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, were on Tuesday night shot dead by vandals at Kunu, the border between Arepo in Ogun State and Ikorodu in Lagos State, even as scores of persons have been declared missing as a result of the attack on the area. Activities of the vandals spilled over to Okeoko, Ikorodu area of Lagos State as residents deserted the community following an attack by the vandals suspected to be militants. The incident occurred around 5 p.m. on Tuesday and left an unidentified number of persons missing. Unconfirmed reports say the killing of the DSS operatives occurred less than 6 hours after 7 other security operatives were allegedly killed at the Shawo area of Ikorodu by suspected vandals. National Coordinator of Pan-Yoruba Group, the Odua People's Congress (OPC), Chief Gani Adams, has berated northern leaders over their call for a fresh national conference and non-implementation of the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference, saying their call amounted to overheating national polity. Adam, who was a delegate to the last national conference organized by the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, said this in his reaction to the call made by the Northern ex-political office holders under the aegis of the Northern Reawakening Forum, NRF. The group had called on President Muhammadu Buhari to convene a fresh national conference to address some pertinent issues affecting the Northeast and other parts of the region. They also called on President Buhari to disregard the recommendations of the national conference conducted under Jonathan's administration. Adams, while saying that the call was condemnable, pointed out that it was a plot to disintegrate Nigeria and instigate hatred against the delegates of the last national conference. Adams, who expressed surprise at the position of the forum, said that anybody in Nigeria today will know that to move the country forward, the recommendations of the national conference must be implemented religiously. Investigations by National Emergency Management Agency, the NEMA, has revealed that the Islamic school building that collapsed in Jos on Sunday was originally a bungalow that was converted into a 2-story structure. 10 people have been reported dead in the tragedy and about 30 others are receiving medical care. Mohammed blamed the collapse of the building on carelessness, arguing that the materials used during its construction were very poor. Mohammed regretted that lives were lost in the incident, but added that casualty figure would have been worse as school was in full session when the building collapsed, but due to rains, some pupils could not make it to school. Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki has dismissed reports of plans to prosecute him by the Code of Conduct Bureau over alleged corruption in the Assets Declaration form he filled in 2003 as governor. He said the charge sheet issued by the Code of Conduct Bureau for him to face the court was incorrect, while he only got to see them through the social media. The Senate President said he had not yet received the summons by the Bureau for him to appear before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The Senate President said he had consistently declared his assets as required by law at every point before resuming any political office, and that of 2015 was not an exception. According to emergency management officials today, at least 7 people have died, with hundreds made homeless as part of Sierra Leone's capital were submerged by massive flooding after hours of torrential rain. The waters destroyed homes, swept away household goods and damaged vehicles as Freetown, an overcrowded city of 1.2 million, was pounded overnight. It rains 6 months in the year in Freetown, one of the world's wettest cities, and decayed water from its populated slopes flood its coastal slums every summer, bringing cholera, dysentery, and respiratory infections. At least 20 neighborhoods were flooded by the 5-hour storm, according to a statement from the presidency, which said torrential monsoon rain was expected to continue for at least 6 days. Police and soldiers were deployed to the worst-hit areas to maintain law and order. It said while residents were being urged to stay at home. Members of Burkina Faso's presidential guard today announced the suspension of the government, saying President Michel Kafando has been overthrown. A military official on state-run media in Ouagadougou said they had put in place a National Democracy Council charged with organizing democratic and inclusive elections. The Presidential Guard is believed to be dissatisfied with plans to dissolve it and to integrate it into the military police. The African Union has threatened Burkina Faso with sanctions unless power was handed over to civilians, and an agreement was reached on a transitional period. UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon has called for the immediate release of the President and Prime Minister, calling it a serious violation of Burkina Faso's constitution and its interim government. Crowds of migrants crossing from Serbia have broken through riot police lines on the Croatian border at Tovanik. 6,000 arrivals since Wednesday morning after Hungary closed its borders with Serbia, blocking the previous route into the European Union. Croatian officials say migrants must apply for asylum there or be treated as illegal migrants. EU leaders will hold an emergency summit next week to discuss the crisis. On Wednesday, hundreds were involved in clashes at the Hungary-Serbia border. A Saudi Arabian diplomat, Majid Hassan Ashur, first secretary at the Saudi embassy in New Delhi, accused of repeatedly raping and abusing 2 women, has left India under cover of diplomatic immunity. An official statement from New Delhi that took the unusual step of naming the diplomat gave no details on how the diplomat left the country. The statement explained that although a case was registered against the diplomat, police could not act against him because he was protected under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. It says the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations gives diplomats immunity from arrest, criminal prosecution, and civil lawsuits in the countries where they are posted. The 2 women from Nepal, working as maids in the diplomat's luxury apartment, have accused him of illegally confining and raping them during the past few months. The Saudi embassy has denied the allegations against the diplomat and also refused to let police question him. For more news, you can follow us at African Free Press on Twitter, like African Free Press on Facebook, and visit our website www.africanfreepress.com. My name is Arit Efa. To have a restful evening.